Hey guys, thanks for coming back to watch our next episode on Meet the Residents. Today we're going to have Alex Cortez. He's famous, so I just had to give a pause afterwards. Alex is a incoming PGY6 postgraduate year 6 at the University of Cincinnati. So we'll be talking with him today. So Alex, say hello to our people.
Hey guys, happy to share with you today.
So Alex, first of all, if you'll just tell us a little bit about yourself, like growing up, what was your family like? What was your childhood like?
Yeah. So I'm from the Cleveland, Ohio area. I'm one of two. My family kind of middle class growing up. Was the first one. Parents worked hard to get me in a good private school, and that kind of launched me from an academic standpoint. I was the first one to go to college in my family, and
Oh, wow.
and then went to Grand Rapids, Michigan, to Calvin College. It's a small liberal arts school where I studied Spanish and biochemistry. And then I came to UC for medical school, and then I enjoyed it here. My wife's family's from here, and I like the program, so I stayed here for residency.
Awesome. So just to kind of ask you a little bit more, I knew that you were a first generation, but I think I forgot. But I knew that because we're family. But can you tell us a little bit about, I guess, being the first to go to college? Did you feel like that was particularly difficult? Did you have mentors along the way, or what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the beginning I really didn't know what I didn't know, So mainly because I played hockey, and then also kind of knowing the school was important was what kind of cued me in to go to a private high school that my parents, were willing to kind of work to support me for. So I did that, and then it was really being in a good academic setting like that where I realized like everyone talked about college, everyone talked about what kind of career, and so I hadn't been familiar, exposed to that kind of like motivation and realizing the people you're around really shape who you are, and so that really kind of pushed me to then say, go to college and to figure out a certain career path that would be happy in and also be successful. And then it was really when I got into college where I kind of started to kind of realize, maybe not from an academic standpoint, but from a awareness standpoint, kind of realized where my upbringing had kind of put me a few steps back in terms of not really knowing like how SAT, ACT prep courses, especially like MCAT prep courses. Like looking back, I mean, when I got into med school, I was like, I had no idea what I was doing. I remember applying for med school and people talking about step one and asking those questions. And like, I had no idea what step one was. But ultimately, I mean, it worked out. I got in. And then I feel like from an academic standpoint, med school is like where like I finally caught up and understood how academia worked and things. But for me, it was really just, especially in college, like seeking out a lot of mentors who could guide me along the way, people who had done it, who had gone into higher education, and really recognizing that I didn't have a certain skill set, and then finding people who could help me get to where I wanted to get.
Awesome. So in medical school, because you felt you were caught up, did you gravitate towards surgery immediately, or how was that discovery process and figuring out this is what you wanted to do?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I had studied Spanish in college. I am Hispanic. My grandparents were from Mexico. I didn't grow up speaking Spanish, though, so it's something I really connected to in college. And then being one of the minorities in medical school, that was like something that I got involved in a Latino Medical Student Association early on, and that became like something quickly that I was interested in, but also the school was obviously eager to have me involved in. So with that background in mind, I had been kind of interested in like primary care and like working in the Hispanic population. So I initially thought I would do like peds or family medicine, which is funny now looking back. But because I had that interest in some global work, I connected with one of the pediatric surgeons early on who worked in South Africa, and went to like a lunch talk and got to know him, and then chatted a few times. And that was early in my first year. And I had never, again, going back to you don't know what you don't know, I had no idea what surgery was. And so the first few times I like worked with him in the operating room, and it was awesome. I loved the immediacy of seeing a problem, seeing an operation, and seeing that problem fixed. And so I quickly gravitated towards surgery. I shadowed a ton my first and second year. And then when I went into third year rotations, I kind of knew surgery would be it. And then doing outpatient rotations kind of solidified that wasn't what I wanted to do, and surgery was what I was interested in. So it wasn't what I planned to do coming into med school, but I quickly realized that's what I wanted to do.
So for students, I know for me, you experience different feedback whenever you're going through medical school about why you should or shouldn't do surgery. So most of our listeners are likely applying in the fall, but for those that are maybe still a little bit younger than that and are thinking about why they should do surgery but are interested, what advice do you have, and maybe that they're being discouraged to go against it or not do it at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing is obviously is especially those going into third year in their rotations is just be open minded. I mean, there's so many connotations about different fields that you it's kind of like OChem in college. You know it's going to be hard, and you kind of get nervous about it, and then you just gotta put your head down and get it done, and you get it done. And so sometimes you actually realize you enjoy it, and I think that's what the rotations like. For me, it was like, oh, I'm going to be like, I'm not going to join neurology, and then you're like, oh, actually, this is kind of interesting. Or like psychiatry, like, oh, this is kind of neat. So I think people are very kind of nervous about the surgery rotation. So having an open mind about that, surgical subspecialties have an open mind about that. I think historically they're hard residencies, hard fellowships, hard jobs. So that can deter certain personality styles or certain people who, maybe especially females, but also for males too, wanting to have a family, things like that. But recognizing that people are doing it and things are changing. Culture of these specialties are changing. There's more and more role models who are doing jobs and job descriptions that look differently than the kind of standard historical kind of connotation. So I think be open-minded. And then I think as you're doing your rotations, like figure out what you like. That doesn't necessarily mean you got to figure out if you want to be a surgical oncologist, but figure out if you like inpatient versus outpatient. Figure out if you like sick patients or not so sick patients, and understanding what drives you, because at the end of the day, the operating will become second nature and become easier and easier, and it's going to be the patients and their pathology that are going to what drive you, and you have to love a certain problem to love that. So if you realize you don't like anything about intra-abdominal organs, then you probably shouldn't be a surgeon. But if you love like endocrine and diabetes management, maybe endocrinology. So you have to kind of figure out what you enjoy and the pathophysiology behind it, and what motivates you. What book chapters, what papers would you enjoy reading?
Yeah, we definitely need everybody. So I agree. If everybody is appreciative of what they do and do it to the best of their ability, we should be in a good situation. That's
Yeah.
kind of my thought. So I know you mentioned that some people maybe were discouraged because they want to have families and that sort of thing. Do you have a family, or how has residency played out for you in that regard?
Yeah. I'm married. My wife and I just today's our 8-year anniversary. So we spent the day.
Congrats! 8 years is a ways. That's longer
Yeah.
than residency.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. And we have a near 2-year-old little girl, and then another child on the way. We don't know if it's a boy or girl, but I think my wife and I met in college, so we've journeyed together through this. So that's been nice, in that she's kind of slowly gotten used to the progression of medical school and residency. But for us, I mean, it's worked. I think she knows what our lifestyle is like, and she worked and had a career as a teacher for a while. And then she wanted to stay home with our daughter, so she chose to do that. I think, for us, it works. We make time. I think maybe some friends who aren't in medicine, with an 8 to 5 job, it's a little bit different in terms of how it works. But like today's our anniversary. I'm on nights. We spent the day together. We went for a walk with our daughter. I mean, that's very enjoyable for me. So while it may look a little different, it works. And I think, again, seeing people who are doing it, talking to other residents, how do they manage family, and then just being open-minded, like we may not have a fancy dinner on our anniversary tonight, but we're doing that Saturday. And so
Right.
you just kind of be flexible. Yeah. And I think, at the end of the day, it's going to open up certain doors for us. We're going to have a career that we enjoy. We'll have finances to live a certain lifestyle. And ultimately we'll just be doing what we want to do and be happy. And so with that comes a little bit of sacrifice. And that's just a kind of a commitment we've been willing to make. But yeah, it's been great. We've had time to travel as a family and be together. And we're really happy.
No, I just wanted to ask about the hockey thing. How long did you play hockey for?
Yeah, so I played hockey. I started skating and playing when I was 3 years old. And then I played all the way through high school. And then I played a year of club hockey in college. And then when I studied abroad, I retired.
I've never skated on ice, so I need to
it's
run
fun.
my horizons.
Yeah, there's some skating places here in Cincinnati. I played pickup hockey as well, more so in the lab when I had a little more free time. But there's some places around here. A couple of the surgeons, randomly, a couple of them play. So we had like a hockey day where a handful of, there was an orthopedic surgeon and an anesthesiologist. A group of us got together and played some pickup hockey. So
I bet you're about to say the transplant team. That had come up on a previous interview with Vic about how there was like a basketball team. So
yeah,
I thought it's
one of the transplant guys who plays basketball, Dr. Dewan, also plays hockey, so he came.
Awesome. So one last thing, I don't want to keep you too long, but what are you most excited about in the future? So what are you looking forward to? Obviously you still have a few years left, but really, even long-term, what is the thing you're most excited about?
Yeah, residency is hard. It's long. There's a lot of learning, and there's days where you're you feel these little victories and it's very exciting. And then there's days where there's setbacks because ultimately, just like medical school, you realize every day you don't know something. And as much as that's maybe a hit to the pride or a reminder you need to work harder, it reminds you of how hard this job is. And so obviously there's always a natural progression. I've really enjoyed third year, starting to kind of have a little bit more leadership roles, starting to own services and make patient care decisions. And so as things are starting to click, where you can work up a patient fairly autonomously, you can prepare them for surgery, you can do a lot of the major steps in the operation and then take care of them afterwards. Starting to actually feel what this job looks like is really fun because the first few years are really difficult and taking care of sick patients. And some days you have those victories, but you don't always kind of see it through. And so I think, especially being close to the current chiefs and talking to them, I think it's a very gratifying time when you start to really care for patients. And so it's exciting to know that there's a future of that.
Right.
That's my career. And so despite it being hard and sacrifices, we have a huge privilege in the job we get to have. And so I'm excited for that. I think, again, all the balancing we have to do, it's going to work out. And my wife and I, my family, we'll figure out what works for us. But to be able to have a job you love and you go to every day, and the more and more I operate, I love operating. And it's fun. And it goes back to
no one paid you to say that, right?
Yeah, no. I mean, it goes back to that first year med student thing where I watched this immediacy. And I think a lot of students here who are going to surgery will know that you watch somebody operate, especially a master surgeon, and it's a dance. It's like art. It's awesome. And so to be able to think that if you spend enough time and work hard enough, you can do that is pretty cool. And to be able to impact people's lives is even cooler.
Awesome. Cortez, Alex Cortez, Dr. Alex Cortez, thank you for coming on here and talking with me. So hope everyone enjoys it. Make sure you leave comments or questions so we can continue to tailor these so that they're for your benefit. Alex, thank you so much, and we'll see you all soon.
See you guys. Thanks.